So I've been recently keeping up with news regarding Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4 in 2026, bringing back DMZ, and a game called Delta Force. Now I'll get to Delta Force on the later half of this video, but I want to talk about DMZ right now. I'm one of the many people who did enjoy DMZ for the first 4 seasons of the game, but I ultimately had to retire and uninstall its files as I could not keep handling how it was. I can handle PvP just fine. If I lose a gunfight, I lose a gunfight, unless I know for a fact you're cheating. If you manage to tell me, like, oh, I just magically know you're hiding in this bush and I didn't use a thermal at all, I don't have anything to see you with, yeah, I'm going to definitely be upset. But nonetheless, DMZ was a good mode. And I say was because it is a dead mode. The PvP players have turned the game into a hostage situation. DMZ used to be about player versus AI. But ever since Season 4, or even Season 3 really, the game was never that. It was players forming a 6-man, loading into a heavy armored HTV, and just driving around and hunting players as they saw you. And it's heartbreaking, because these people would literally wait for you to get into a gunfight with AI to do whatever you wanted or needed to do, and they would just third party you and talk smack. There was no honor in PvPing anymore. There's not. And that's the big problem, is when a lot of the PvE players, or even PvP players, sit there and go, DMZ's dead because of PvP, because of Warzone rejects. It's the sad truth, and that's why I don't agree with this one YouTuber, and no hate or shame to them. I kind of understand what they were coming from, but it's from a guy called Geeksy or Geekseth. It's Geek with S-E-H, right? And his video is like 2-3 years old, if I remember correctly, and he's like, he hates the argument of when people say, if you want to just PvP, go play Warzone. Well, you can hate it, but it's the truth. If all you're doing is going into DMZ just to fight players, you're not mixing it up, and then you see players, you fight them, and if you lose, you lose, but you also did it with some contracts here and there and whatnot, that's a different story. But when all you're doing is just, oh, I see a player, let me ruin their fun, that's why people are upset. We understand that PvP does exist and that it's going to happen. But when it's basically a borderline 80, 90, or even sometimes 100% chance, it's sad. I recently decided upon my own mindset that I was going to return to DMZ just to truly see if DMZ is as bad as I remember it. And out of all of my matches, all 6 matches I went into, everything was PvP. From the start of me in my first lobby returning to my final 6th match with enough content under my belt, it was nothing but PvP, ranging from my team hunting down players, me and my team going to help players, or me and my team just ultimately getting hunted ourselves. There was no in between of just being able to do something PvE anymore, because you can't. You just can't. And that's a real big problem with it. Now, I do understand from a PvP perspective, as a retired PvP player from Siege, from Call of Duty. I mean, I still have my most favorite video clip of me playing Black Ops 3 back when I used my phone as my internet. I have a clip still out there where I killed someone using a concussion grenade or whatever. I got the kill cam for it, and that's still my highlight of my life. But from a PvP player's standpoint, I understand that you guys don't want to lose PvP. You enjoy the thrill of not just fighting players, but AI. But you refuse to acknowledge a big problem is that PvP has become rampant, that PvP has ruined the mode. Why go play Warzone and maybe kill players with brown loot like you're supposed to at the start, and buy, you know, a care package to get your loadout so you can kill players with your favorite LMG, when you could just load into DMZ with a 3-plate, go get a bunch of freaking, you know, med kits, whatever, and they just camp somewhere and murder players all day at an exfil, turning it into the beaches of Normandy. Why play the game right when you can just do that? It's upsetting. Now, from a PvE player standpoint, I really do understand. people like me wanted to do DMZ, and it's not because, oh, we're just scared to lose our gear. We don't want to lose our gear. Please coddle us and hold our hands. No, that's not what we were wanting. But unfortunately, that's the common insult people like me get. We get told that we suck at PvP, that we're this, that we're that. Like, I've had literally someone tell me, and I know this doesn't have anything to relate to DMZ, but I've literally had someone tell me that I should unalive myself because I said I prefer playing as an operator versus a set crew character in Call of Duty Zombies. This is under a post, and I will post the screenshot up on my YouTube channel community page. I will post it. And do not harass the person by all any means, by the way, don't do that, no. But it's sad that I had a very stable, mature mindset comment, and I got told to unalive because I didn't fit the quota of this person's playstyle. And that's upsetting. So I understand where the PvE players are going, hey, can we please just get a PvE option? I want to be able to, you know, unlock weapons through this mode without buying the battle passes. I want to be able to, you know, play this mode and get money, and if I lose my gear to AI, I lose my gear to AI. I want to be able to do things that I couldn't ordinarily do, especially solo. Like, the PvE players, still to this day, are asking for a PvE option. They're still 1 year old and, you know, monthly old, you know, Reddit pages that are like, hey, DMZ sucks, and it's because of PvP. But the toxic PvP players won't acknowledge their toxicity. And most PvP players who aren't toxic won't acknowledge it because that would mean saying that they're wrong. Now, DMZ's future, its rebirth. Now that we've talked about its death, I want to talk about its rebirth. Its rebirth can be great if it first off listens. I do not want DMZ by all any means to be only PvE. If that's its sole mode, I still won't get it. I mean, I might maybe if the game went on sale, but I'm not pre-ordering. I'm not. Because then that just means I got catered to and that feels wrong to me. Maybe that's just the mature side of me, I don't know. But ultimately, if DMZ 2.0 is just purely PvE and that's it, I'm going to be upset because that means players who enjoyed the chance of not just losing their gear to AI, but players as well, they don't get what they also enjoyed. And that basically makes me no better than the people who wanted the opposite. Now, DMZ truly, if it does in 2.0 give a PvE and a PvPvE system, it will be amazing. All you have to do is simply toggle a simple button like you can for fill exfils, or fill squads, I mean. Like, that would be great. Do you want to play PvPvE? Just click this off. Boom, done. You're only going to queue up with players that are also doing the same. And another thing that could really make 2.0 really great is this. Like, for instance, if I don't want to play PvPvE, I choose to toggle that off, right? You can make it to where the people that I load up and squad in with, we are the only players in that lobby. Meaning, if we die and we lose and we don't exfil in time or whatnot, that's it. That's on us. There is no pleading to get revived. Because that's just us. And you know what? I feel like that would be really good. Now, maybe if that becomes too big of a problem, then maybe adding other players into the lobby would also be a beneficial system. You know what? That is fine. I'm okay with that. However, another thing does arise, and that is that I do believe that nothing should be gatekeeped. Don't be gatekeeping the weapon cases or certain loot or missions just because they exist. Don't make any missions for PvP either. Now, I know that sounds contradictory, but please let me explain. If I'm doing missions in PvE, I should not be forced to get this mission that is purely PvP based. Instead, just make everything PvE, but as you progress and the tiers go on, they exceedingly get harder and harder and harder. So like if one says you need to get a gold bar, a electrical, you know, wire tape bullcrap, and then a rubber duck, I should have to go get those things, take them to X location, and then maybe have to do a defender for 3 waves because I needed these to unlock a safe or something. I don't know. But making missions that are PvP based is not a good flow at all by any means. And in fact, it's going to most likely still kill the mode. Because now I have factions that require me to go into PvPvE when I shouldn't have to. Now then, I feel like the AI, for what it's worth in 1.0 of DMZ, they work just fine and they could be brought back into 2.0. The future of 2.0 is really bright if the devs just listen to the PvE community. Just listen to what we've asked for. Fix the AI to where they don't spawn underground, they don't infinitely spawn in, from helicopters and toss down smokes. Make it to where shield users actually have to reload behind their shield, giving you a chance to survive, versus being able just to perpetually shoot forever. There's a lot of things DMZ can bring back from 1.0 into 2.0 and it be a healthy add-on. But ultimately, if you gatekeep anything and you just simply make everything PvP based even later on, it's not good enough. Hell, I think a great thing to do, instead of just doing what I said now that I've thought of this, is just make a faction dedicated to PvP. Make a direct faction dedicated to PvP. It's not that difficult. Your first missions, right off the bat with that faction, are PvP. So that way people know, yeah, this is the PvP faction. Don't play this one. Don't do this one. I feel like that is a great way to keep the game healthy. So honestly, there's a lot DMZ 2.0 can do, but it really does have to take a note from the PvE players. And that is, just give us a PvE option. Whether you choose to do the whole, it's just you and the people you squad in with system, or whatever need be, there's a lot that can be done. There's a lot. But I digress. So I want to just do a quick recap. DMZ 2.0 can be a healthy bring back if it listens to the PvE players. If it does. Don't gatekeep anything at all, no matter how many the PvP players cry for. Don't separate loot or anything like that. By all means, do not bring back these freaking, oh, you buy this operator bundle, now you get a level 2 plate or a permanent UAV every time you load in. Please remove that. I'm so glad MWZ did not do that. I'm so glad. Maybe they did and I've never been advertised it at all when I play. But nonetheless, I'm so glad MWZ doesn't have it. But nonetheless, don't do anything like that. Don't gatekeep gear. Don't make everything at the end of the game with each faction PvP. Just make a dedicated PvP faction and update it regularly with every season. Don't gatekeep weapon cases, and honestly just give it PvE mode. Don't gatekeep events where you need to get X amount of kills and it turns out you need to get player kills. Just, if it says get kills, get killed. That's it. Now, I want to talk about Delta Force and why I think this may beat Call of Duty Modern Warfare 4 bringing back DMZ. Delta Force has already listened to the PvE community, even though it's not the greatest, at least to my knowledge, about this mode, and that is Operation Serpentine. Now, Operation Serpentine is a really cool idea on paper, but ultimately executed is lackluster. Operation Serpentine, from what I remember hearing, was if you got 3 wins, that's all you get. You can only get 3 wins every 24 hours, and the mode only has 3 difficulties. Normal, hard, and I think like Nightmare or Veteran, wherever it is. But ultimately, it's you get 3 wins every 24 hours, and then that's all you can play. And it's a story-driven system. It's not a raid like it wants to be made out to believe by ex-YouTubers. And I'm not going to list any, just so it doesn't seem like I'm hating on them. But there's a lot of YouTubers who really don't bring in the factor that this is a bad system. However, I do like the premise of it. I do believe that per map, like Operation Serpentine, maybe Operation Copper Wire, Operation Itchy Nose, Operation Diaper Rash, whatever. You know, on these operations, I could understand each one having a dedicated 3-play timer, and that's it. I like the fact that you can still exfil gear from that, but ultimately with it being a 3-play limitation, whether it's 3 wins or 3 playthroughs in general, that's not good or healthy for the mode. It's just not. And with it being the only PvE mode to my knowledge, a lot of the players, even for this game that's not on consoles yet, is still in demand of being asked, hey, can we pretty please just get Tactical Turmoil or whatever the PvE renaming is, can we please get a PvE option? We understand that right now it's PvE. Can you pretty please just give us a PvE option? We're not asking for anything to be changed or added just directly for us. We are just simply asking that you give us a PvE option. And the devs of Delta Force on their YouTube page will sometimes comment or reply or anything. They sometimes will. Now, I've had a personal reply from them, and they've said like, oh, we're bringing the campaign, and I'm like, that's not what we've asked. And neither is Operation Serpentine. This isn't good enough. And not to sound like I'm ungrateful, because I'm not, it really genuinely is not good enough. Could you imagine if someone asked for a burger and all you got was the buns? That's what that feels like. Sure, it's a good start, but at the end of it all, it's not the greatest. So, Operation Serpentine is a good side PvE mode. Hell, I will be accepting and understanding that there's, you know, kind of like how Call of Duty is, where you have to reach X level requirement to do X things. I'm okay with that in Delta Force. I will fully play PvP until I hit X level requirement just to play Operation Serpentine. But ultimately, if I can do that in PvE as well, then I'm going to do it in PvE, because why do all the games have to constantly cater to PvP players that are always the fun ones? Look at games like Ready or Not. It is a PvE game, and it is fun to the core. Sure, it is damn near hard as fucking Diamond, but it's still fun. Now, I feel like that's all I really want to talk about. Ultimately, I feel like the devs of Delta Force are going to listen to the community and give us a PvE extraction mode before the devs of Call of Duty give it to us. Sorry, you can hear my cat in the background. But ultimately, I feel like Delta Force is going to win this. I'm gonna pause real quick. Now, ultimately, I do believe that the devs of Delta Force are going to win this. I honestly do believe that the devs of Delta Force are going to give us a PvE extraction mode before Call of Duty does, just because Call of Duty is known to never truly listen to whether it's PvE players or PvP players, and it's just, all in all, not good. I don't want to hear anything about SBMM, but I'm talking about content. Like, people hate a lot of things that Call of Duty does, and I think one of the greatest things they've truly done was COD HQ, because for console players who want to start streaming or do stream, now they can play their Call of Duties without having to close application to start a new stream. They can now seamlessly stream from one game to another. I plan to do it at some point with Call of Duty campaigns when I stream over on Twitch. Right now, I'm still bitch, pissed, and crying and complaining over Souls games, but that's just how it's going to be. Ultimately, I think Delta Force devs are going to listen and give us the much more enjoyable PvE experience, unless Call of Duty gets their head out of their ass. I'm Demon Blade 1i8, and I'm sorry for taking so much time talking about DMZ. I had a lot to say. I really just felt like this needs to be talked about, because a lot of the high-end YouTubers that I watch or come across, they don't really give a pure directive, and some of them are so biased that they don't want a PvE mode because, well, that ruins their fun. They don't truly understand the difference that it's going to make. So, in the end of this all, thank you for your time, thank you for your love, thank you for your, listening, watch time, whatever need be. My Twitch is, if you choose to go and actually go over there and watch me suffer, I stream from Sunday to Friday morning from typically 8 to 5 o'clock in the morning Central Standard Time of the USA. I'm currently finishing playing through Souls games. I recently got done raging at Bloodborne because of Lawrence the First of the Car and some home edit issues that just sent me over the edge, so I had to end stream. But all in all, I still enjoy the Souls games, and if you want to come watch me rage at those games while they're still up and active, please do. But I'm going to end this here. Again, thank you for your love, support, watch time. Come over to my Twitch. Just come hang out. Tell your friends you can come laugh at some moron who plays the Souls games and rages and whatever, whatnot. I love you all. I hope you have an amazing day. And just be awesome.